Hello again and welcome back to our videos here on flyingcloudzen.org's YouTube channel. My name is Busho Lan, and I would love to talk with you for a few minutes about Flying Cloud Zen. This is kind of our welcome video. Welcome to flyingcloudzen.org. I want to talk with you just a little bit about what we are, who we are, what we do. So I've got a cheat sheet in front of me that you cannot see, but I still have a cheat sheet, and I also have the website up in front of me that I can refer to when I need to so I don't get lost. But I just thought maybe a short introduction video might be helpful for folks who are a little bit newer to who and what we are, and just talk with you a little bit so you could hear the description in my voice as opposed to reading it. And so most important and first is to invite you, please do visit if you have the time and would like to visit our website. Flyingcloudzen.org has everything on it that I'm about to tell you in written form. So if that's your preference, please do it. So the short version is we are a spiritual practice community. You can see the word Zen, you can hear the word Zen right there in our name. That is an expression of the tradition that I have had my formal practice, formal training, and authorization to teach in, is the Soto Zen Buddhist tradition. It is a tradition I love very deeply. And so I felt it was good to include that in the name, but spiritual practice community is probably a little closer to accurate all the way, because a lot of the folks who sit with us regularly and who practice with us regularly and who take classes with us here are Christian, agnostic, not otherwise specified, Buddhist, a couple of Jewish folks who don't even feel the need to necessarily label, right? And that is absolutely a-okay. That's why I think spiritual practice community is such an important phrase. What is worth noting is that our central kind of pillar here is contemplative practice or meditation. In all of the world's great faith tradition, there is a meditative component or some type of contemplative stream within that tradition. We also see that outside of faith traditions in the form of even like secular mindfulness type meditation. And so our focus at Flying Cloud is paying very close attention, paying deep and loving attention to the internal experience of being alive. Right? That's the common thread. That's where everything starts and everything ends for us. And the Christian tradition has much to say about that, and the Jewish tradition has much to say about, as does the Hindu tradition and the Islamic tradition and the secular tradition, and my own tradition of Zen Buddhism has a lot to say about the internal landscape. What gives us meaning, what creates suffering, how we find purpose, direction, right? How we meet our wounds, how we become more whole. And so I feel free to draw from any and all resources that feel authentic, that feel kind, that feel wise, anything that might be of help to people. Right? I won't ever claim to speak for traditions that are not my own, but spiritual practice community to me is a broad pasture, and that is inclusive and diverse and broad enough that I hope everybody who takes part in our programming here and gets to know us has a sense that, yep, I'm welcome, I'm included, because everybody is. Right? So meditation and contemplative practice is our core, but it takes a lot of forms. So right now, during the pandemic, when we're still under quarantine lockdown and getting together in person is not a good idea, we're doing all of our offerings virtually. That will change as more and more people are vaccinated and as we feel more comfortable gathering in person. But right now we're doing sittings on Tuesday mornings and Tuesday evenings, on Thursday mornings and Thursday evenings, and on Saturday mornings. So we have 5 regularly scheduled sittings every single week. The Zoom link is on the website. The Zoom link is also in all the Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter posts that we put out. They're open to the public. There's no fee attached, no registration. People just drop in. They sit with us in silence. They're not alone. They get to connect with some other people, and then off they go, right? It's actually a beautiful way of spending time together. Those regular drop-in sittings have become really, really important. So we've got that going on. We also have the monthly mindfulness practice group, probably our more, or one of our more popular offerings. One of those Saturdays every month we meet and we stick together for about 2.5 hours. The mindfulness practice group is what the name suggests. We do a couple of experientials, a couple of periods of meditation. Generally speaking, there's a theme. There's something in particular we're wanting to explore. And so there's also a teaching that helps put those sittings, those meditations, and the experiential or experientials into a context. So we feel like there's kind of a theme. All of these things will relate to self-awareness. They'll always come back to mindfulness. We'll talk about emotions. We'll talk about defenses. We'll talk about speech and behavior. What does loving speech look like? We've explored loving kindness scripture. We've explored some habits around family and friends, all sorts of stuff we've played with. Sometimes I show up without an agenda and I just let the questions of the group, whoever shows up, kind of dictate the direction that we're going to go. So like those weekday sittings, that's a drop-in, no registration required, donation-based. People just offer what they can, and we'd love for folks to come, whether they're beginners or even very experienced meditators. It's a lovely offering for people, is the mindfulness practice group we have every month. Additionally, we have retreats, usually at least once a month, sometimes more often than that. Short ones, as short as 3 hours, Zazen Kai, we call that. Some longer, 6 hours, 8 hours. As the pandemic loosens and we have more freedom to get together, we're going to want to do those in person, I'm imagining. And then we have a space that we have been kindly inhabiting for many years now. I want to say 10, probably years, I think, at the Aslan Institute in Eagan, Minnesota, just south of the river. The lower level of Aslan Institute has been kind enough to be our home now for many, many years. They've got a beautiful big conference room space that's very warmly appointed that we've used for retreats for some years now. So that's what we'll return to doing. We also offer, with fees attached, we offer classes several times a year, usually 5 or 6 weeks at a stretch. Those can be virtual or in person. And those are, of course, classes. There's going to be a theme. There's going to be some reading. There's going to be some suggested homework. There's going to be a weekly gathering, usually a 2-hour meeting every week. And we're going to choose this particular theme. We've talked about compassion as a Buddhist archetype. We've talked about the Four Noble Truths of Buddhism. We've talked about just mindfulness in general. Creative mindfulness is the title of the class we've offered for, I'm going to say 7 years now. That always fills up and is always really a really popular one. There's other themes we've explored that escape me right now, but classes have a fee attached and again, always open to everybody. We get a lot of newcomers and a lot of folks who are kind of beginning their investigation into meditation, mindfulness, and the inner world. And so newer folks are always welcome, as are more seasoned folks. And then finally, the last thing I'll mention is spiritual direction. I'm a spiritual director. I was certified in spiritual direction many years ago. The one-to-one meeting is highly emphasized in the Zen tradition. And I'm also somebody who has spent many years meeting with teachers one-to-one, counselors one-to-one, spiritual directors, priests one-to-one, therapists one-to-one. I'm a great believer. I'm a great believer in the one-to-one connection. And there are certain places, and especially depths, that we really can only do in a trusted, sacrosanct, person-to-person meeting of the hearts. And so spiritual direction is something that I offer and have offered for many years for anybody who's interested in investigating the spiritual dimension of their life. And that includes pretty much everything, but certainly your practice, your self-awareness practice, afflictive emotions, life transitions, difficult relationships, existential type stuff, transitioning into or out of a faith tradition. It seems to come up a lot. I meet with people who are Buddhists, atheists, agnostics, Christians not otherwise specified. Because again, the spiritual landscape is deeply personal and yet also universal. It's universally human. So if you're interested in that, the information on that is also on our website. There's a fee attached to that, of course, but that's something that I work out with every person. So that's all I really wanted to say. I just wanted to give you a chance to see my face, hear my voice, hear me try to describe kind of what we are. This is a work in progress. Of course, we're a hybrid model. We want to meet in person, but we also want to do some virtual stuff so we can connect with some of our friends who are further away. So we'll invent those different boundaries as we go. Always feel free to ask. Please leave comments in the comment section whenever you wish here on YouTube, or feel free to shoot me an email. My contact information is on the website, flyingcloudzen.org, and I would love to hear from any or all of you. I hope this was helpful for you. Blessings on your curiosity and blessings on your way. I hope to see you here at Flying Cloud Zen soon. Okay.